Have you ever finished a meal without tasting it? Have you ever found yourself responding to an email while you were on a phone call or on a Zoom call, and then you realize you missed something important that somebody said? Or have you ever laid awake at night until 2 in the morning and your mind is just racing? In this video, I'll share about the powerful practice of mindfulness and what it can do about that. In fact, it's like a superpower that most people forget that they even have access to. I'll start by explaining the what to be clear about what mindfulness actually is beyond just a buzzword. And I'll share about the why with a few key reasons for why mindfulness matters for your mental health, for your relationships, for your productivity, and overall for leadership. And lastly, I'll share about the how and offer you a way that you can tap into this power with a simple mindfulness framework to develop greater calm, even in this chaotic world. This is Mindful Moments with Nathan Baptiste. I'm Nathan, and I help leaders and professionals develop mindfulness in order for you to bring out your best and take better care of yourself and of the communities that you serve. First, what is mindfulness actually? I describe mindfulness simply as attention in the present moment, directed with intention, and practice with qualities of non judgment, openness, and compassion. And to clarify a few common misconceptions about mindfulness, what mindfulness is not is it's not just meditation. You don't have to spend all day sitting in meditation and not doing activities in daily life. Although I will say going deeper in retreats is great once you get into the practice. Meditation is a vehicle, or more accurately, it's a whole bunch of vehicles that are available to strengthen mindfulness with many different techniques. But whether or not you are meditating, mindfulness can be practiced anywhere in daily life. Mindfulness is not limited to one type of practitioner. You don't have to be a Buddhist monk to access the power of mindfulness. You don't need to do yoga to qualify. It's available to anyone who is conscious and breathing at any time. Mindfulness has been supporting people's wellness across cultures around the world for more than 2,500 years, since its roots in Buddhist and yogic wisdom traditions. And it can be practiced by anyone for wellness, which is the context that I'll be sharing about. Mindfulness is not about stopping your mind from thinking. You don't have to struggle with herding the cats that are your thoughts in your head. In fact, mindfulness helps us to let go of struggling and instead to work skillfully with the thoughts and the feelings that come up naturally. And personally, I felt drawn to mindfulness since around the age of 16 when I first learned about it. And I liked the idea of learning tools for self-regulation to empower myself. But I had a critical misunderstanding early on. I thought that I had to force myself to stop thinking. And the result was more tension, more struggle. It's like telling a puppy to sit still. It might do it for a minute, but it's also going to run around at some point because that's what puppies do. So it took me years to learn that self-compassion is actually a key ingredient to mindfulness in order to train the mind with less struggling. But you may wonder why mindfulness matters. Mindfulness essentially offers us the power to live with greater presence and a deeper sense of peace and connection with others. A Harvard study found people spend 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're doing, and that this is mind wandering that typically makes people unhappy. But also, we all can and do experience moments of mindfulness spontaneously. And when those moments are intentionally cultivated and practiced with consistency, the impact can be life-changing. Research finds that mindfulness increases empathy and compassion for others and for yourself. And to name a few more of the big benefits of mindfulness that are supported by research, it offers stress reduction, improved focus and memory and executive functioning, enhanced self awareness and emotional regulation, enhanced immune function, and even improved sleep quality. Now that we've established what mindfulness is and why it matters, we can learn how to develop this superpower. I used to be a school teacher, and I think learning mindfulness is in some ways like learning a new subject, like a language or a sport. There's a lot of practices and techniques to explore, but it helps to have a framework to learn how the pieces can come together and to always emphasize the fundamentals. And over the years, as a mindfulness practitioner and an instructor, I've learned a few essential elements that I have found very helpful and I've put into use with my students. And to make it more memorable, I've created a framework that I call the C.A.L.M approach, using an acronym for CALM. The C for centering, which is about establishing stability with openness and embodied awareness. The A for anchoring, which is about developing focused attention. The L for loving, which is about cultivating compassion and kindness. And the M for magnifying, which is about appreciating the good in the present moment. I'll talk more about each of these elements in the calm approach in future videos that I'll make. But for now, I'd like to share an example of a mini practice that you can try that can support centering. So, as I said, a key part of centering is developing embodied awareness, or another word for that is called interoception, right? A scientific term. And this quality supports physiological balance. It includes emotional regulation, and it also is supportive of social connection. And one simple mindfulness practice for this is to observe the five senses. The invitation is to bring attention to each of the five senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. And for each sense, simply notice one or more sensations that are present for you. And you can be like a journalist or a scientist and bring attention to any details or descriptive qualities of that sensation as you experience it for a moment. And that includes also the absence of a sensation. So if you do not have access to any of the senses temporarily or permanently, that also can be noted as an absence of a sensation, and just the awareness of that. And then you move on to the next sense. And this can be practiced at any moment, day or night, in movement or while still. And as we know, our physical senses may be heightened or they may be dull, and so we can adjust if something feels overwhelming. Can always change attention, change focus. I did this practice of observing the five senses recently with my daughter's fifth grade class, and it was delightful. They naturally dove right into the spirit of curiosity and wonder that helps to strengthen mindfulness. You're welcome to pause this video and try this practice right now on your own, or at any moment when you have a break between your events in your day. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you'd like me to share a guided meditation on this. When you bring the elements of the calm approach together, it helps to shift from being more reactive to being more responsive, from being scattered to being more focused, and from being self-critical to being more self-compassionate, and from overlooking the good to appreciating it. As a closing thought, it's important to remember that mindfulness isn't about adding one more thing to your busy life. It's really about bringing a greater quality of presence and insight around what you're already doing. It's also a skill that develops with practice. So, if you'd like to build your mindfulness muscle this week, I invite you to challenge yourself to really pause between your activities at least once each day and bring attention to your senses for just a minute. Starting with your five external senses and then bringing attention inside of the body, the thoughts, and the feelings in that moment for just a snapshot of fuller awareness. And if you're curious about assessing your own mindfulness, I invite you to take the quiz, How Mindful Are You? It offers guiding points for practicing and recommended resources depending on your quiz results. It's free and it's linked in the show notes. And if you already know mindfulness is for you and you want to go more in depth, I invite you to join the waitlist for my upcoming digital mindfulness course. It's also linked below. In next week's video, I'll share a simple practice you can use to recenter anytime that you feel overwhelmed or scattered. Click to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for joining me today, and take care.